4 p.m. Public Safety Committee meeting for the month of August is now in session. Clerk, can you please call the order? Or we have to take a roll call. Who's here? I'm sorry. Okay.
Do it
All right.
since Terry's not here.
Yeah, right. Okay, can we have a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
So moved.
All right, second.
Okay, we have all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first we'll open up for a privilege of the floor. Is anyone here to speak to the privilege of the floor? 3 minutes if you're speaking for yourself, 5 if you're talking about a group, about anything that's on the agenda this evening. Seeing none, we'll close the privilege of the floor. Okay, our first resolution is from the sheriff's office. Okay, we have a proposed resolution to amend the 2023 budget for the office of the sheriff.
Yes, this amendment
Jim, can you just
is
state your name for the, in case anyone was out there?
maybe.
May have to. There.
There we go. Sheriff Jim Quattrone, Stock County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you.
So this resolution is to amend our budget to cover our SUA system upgrade agreement with Motorola, which was due June 1st. And we usually use the interoperability grant to cover that. In the last couple of years, New York State has issued those monies a little late. So we are using another grant to cover half of it, and then wanted to use for half the $170,000 from the W911 to cover the other half. And then we'll be ahead for next year and be able to stay on schedule. I keep on looking at our budget director to make sure I'm saying it right.
Okay. Any questions for the sheriff regarding the amendment?
So I guess this is budget neutral for this year.
That is correct. I forgot that magic word.
Yeah.
Somebody had to ask. Terry's not here.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, carried. The second resolution, authorize execution of a lease renewal with the Federal Bureau of Investigation for tower space from October 1, 2023 through September 30th of 2033. So 10-year lease.
So I have different time frame on that. I have a renewal 1-year term, October 1st. I'm just going to go through this and make sure. Through
1 year
2020.
term. Yeah, that's the one I got.
Which one do you have, John?
Oh, it says maybe extended up to 9
Okay,
additional years.
Yes.
Right.
perfect. Okay.
Yep.
Yes, again, it's a renewal with the FBI. They've had contracted with us to use tower space for their communications, as many agencies and organizations do. So
So they're paying us $925 a month to use our cell tower.
correct.
Is that the one that's outside the building here now? Or?
No, it's on Dutch Hollow Road.
Okay.
On Valerie.
Mine have the printed copy I have has some sort of a clerical error or something.
At a
there. It
rate,
says
yeah.
plus
Jitney
Jitney 405.
Yeah, it's supposed to be at a rate of $925 per month. I'm not sure what.
Mr. Chairman, that does need to be treated as a typo.
It does need to be.
Yeah, that
Okay.
should not be in there. We did
Right.
discuss that with the undersheriff earlier today.
All right, so just cross that plus Jitney 405, cross that out,
Yes. Yep, that's correct.
and we'll just consider that as a typo.
Yes.
Now, my question is, would you have to come the next 9 years, or if they choose to continue on with this thing?
I would not believe we would have to come with the option to renew it every year. We would not have to come for the next 9 years.
Okay. Any other questions for the sheriff on this?
Who extends it? They do or we
Yeah.
do?
It would be a mutual.
Just mutual.
Yes. I have no reason to believe either one of us would get out of that, but I don't anticipate the county opting out unless something happened with the tower or we had to switch towers.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Next resolution is for fiscal year 2022 hazardous materials and emergency preparedness grant program.
Noel Gutman, Director of Emergency Services. This is pretty much an every year grant we get, and this one is focused on, it's always focused on training. I believe we're earmarking these funds for training in lithium ion battery response, fire response. It's a $4,000 match in-kind grant required on our part, so $16,000 plus a $4,000 in-kind. That's usually done by our administrative fees and structures. All of our admin work goes for to cover that.
Has to do with all the lithium batteries.
That's what we can ask for a wide variety of things, and we've decided to try and focus on lithium ion battery response, which we've had several issues here in the county already, and as we know, it's becoming a very growing trend nationally. So we're focusing on getting some training on lithium ion battery fire response.
Nice. Seems like that's the up and coming thing too.
Yep, and we have had several issues already in county of fires that have been directly related to lithium ion batteries. And it's the way of the world, it's going to continue, and we have to find a new way to firefight.
They're proposing a large storage battery unit in the Ripley project. aren't they?
We've met with them before with Ripley Fire Department, and that's a very contentious issue with some, but it poses a whole new aspect of firefighting and ways to deal with it and contain with it. So
Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor of?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
thank you.
Okay, our last resolution is of setting the salary for the chaplain.
I'm back.
Back again.
Jim Quattrone, Chautauqua County Sheriff. So this resolution, we've had a volunteer chaplain since I believe we've had a volunteer chaplain for many years. The current one has been with us since early 2019. And the work he's been doing is greatly benefited our agency, the patrol division, as well as the corrections division, where he spends a lot of time getting to build the relationships and is there not only for our officers, but on traumatic type calls. He can be of service to the victims of different tragedies. And we're looking to develop a position, as you can see in here. There used to be a chaplain position for the county home that they would use on an occasional basis. So that was the basis for starting this, and an evaluation by Human Resources decided that the CSEA 6300 exempt class at a grade 14 would be the appropriate assignment for that. And so we are looking for you to pass that, and so we are able to bring him on. This is, for the record, it's not going to change our FTEs because we are changing one of our part-time investigators that we haven't filled, and we'll use that position to fill this.
But this will come out of your budget every year then, from now on? Out of
That's
the sheriff's
correct.
department, yeah.
Correct. We were just doing the math on it. If he worked 19 hours every week, 52 weeks, it would be about $24,000. And what I looked at is the cost savings from some of the people he's counseled, his ability to really help them work through stressful situations, traumatic situations, where maybe they haven't had to go seek a clinical psychologist or a counselor, and quite honestly, preventing people from, resigning from their positions and the cost involved to hire and train somebody. I firmly believe that this position ends up being a cost saving to the county and the sheriff's office.
Would this person be deployed to a certain tragic accident or something to that?
He could be, absolutely. We would call. I can give you an example. We and I can't remember what year we had the fatal fire out in Sherman in the middle of the night, and he was able to respond and spend a lengthy period of time with the family members there. One of the things I can tell you a lot of what he does, but I also want to tell you what he doesn't do. He's not out there to try to convert people. He really doesn't talk about his church. He doesn't talk about his faith. He is there as a counselor and a sounding board and a comfort to those. And we have a job description that would require whoever we hire in that position to have a certification in the chaplaincy. There's one or two organizations that we would approve to have his training.
He would not provide mental health counseling.
I wouldn't say mental health counseling because he's not a certified mental health counselor or a clinician. However, he has this particular gentleman that's been working with us has extensive training and background in counseling services and experience in that area as well. As I mentioned, there's two organizations that one or the other we would like the certification to come through. He's actually been certified by both.
But not currently.
No, he is currently certified, yes.
And this is the individual you want to hire, is the person who has been volunteering?
That is correct.
Is he a chaplain or a pastor at a parish somewhere?
Yeah, he is has a full-time pastorate in Jamestown. I will say this is a benefit to just about every police agency in Chautauqua County because he has worked with Dunkirk and Jamestown, Lakewood. I know these falls in the sheriff's office. So I'm not sure if any of the other ones. I don't always know which agencies or which people he's working with because of confidentiality. We keep that. He gives me numbers, people he's worked, the number of people he's worked with, and we keep an incident number for every time he's either out or working with individuals.
How long has he volunteered?
Since sometime in 2019, I would have to
So
really look at.
4-ish years.
Yeah.
Would this include benefits?
It would
he
not
be-
include benefits.
Okay.
Just the salary. And again, it wouldn't necessarily be 19 hours a week. And, the number I gave it 19 hours would be about 24,000. That's if you work 52 weeks a year, all 19 hours. And hopefully the need isn't out there that much, but while he does work sometimes with the other agencies, those hours, we wouldn't be paying for those. It would be the hours that he's working with the sheriff's office.
And you don't foresee him growing into the future into a full-time?
Quite honestly, I would love to see it as a full-time position because I think there's a great benefit to that.
Mhm.
But I don't know, and I don't believe that this particular person is ready to leave his full-time pastorate. So.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one last resolution. Authorize acceptance of indigent legal services grant for the period of July 1, 2020 to June 30th of 2023.
Good afternoon. Derek Gregory for the Public Defender's Office, Assistant Public Defender. I'm appearing on behalf of Chief Public Defender Ned Barone. I want to first thank Chairman Niebel for putting this resolution on at the late hour under other for discussion and approval. As noted, the contract period for the grant is July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2023. It's titled the Third Upstate Quality Improvement and Caseload Reduction Grant. This was a continuation of the second Upstate Quality Improvement and Caseload Reduction Grant. The second Upstate Quality Improvement and Caseload Reduction Grant paid for the partial salary and fringe for a assistant public defender. The third Upstate grant renewed during the midst of COVID in July 2020, when many state agencies and the county was operating at a reduced capacity. The county continued to fund the assistant public defender position. The funds were expended during that period of time. For whatever reason, the county didn't anticipate this as revenue. I think $50,000 of it might have been included in the 2020 budget, but nothing was included in the 2021, 22, and 23 budget. The money has been expended. Indigent Legal Services is willing to execute the contract and reimburse the county for expenses that have already been made in the amount of $300,000. Since none of this money was included in the, except for maybe back in 2020, was included in any of the budgets, and it was not accrued, when we received the $300,000 in revenue, it will go into the general fund.
Sounds like it's awful nice of them to.
Well, it's kind of a windfall to the county at this point. So
Why didn't we file for this when we were supposed to? I guess. I mean, if there was money out there to be had and we didn't apply for it.
I think how things normally operate is that, generally we like to put the horse before the cart. So normally ILS would have announced the grant prior to the expiration of the second Upstate grant, sometime prior to July 1st, 2020. Because of COVID, I don't think the grant had been authorized yet. And then we do have some communications at the PD's office during the budget process of 2020 as to whether or not this revenue was expected. But they still hadn't made the announcement of the grant. We had some personnel changes and things, and for whatever reason,
Slipped through the cracks.
yes. And ILS has been kind enough to kind of catch us up to where we're supposed to be.
So moving forward, we've rectified this situation so this doesn't happen again.
Well, I hope next month to be here seeking approval for the fourth Upstate. They have announced the fourth Upstate grant, and I've submitted a budget for that, and we should have that in place going forward.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, because you're out of funding today,
Yeah.
as of June 30th. Huh?
Any questions for Derek? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else who would like to speak under other? State your name and
I've seen how
address
this
to the
works.
clerk. please.
so I don't want to break this like the sheriff did. Didn't mean to throw you under the bus, Jim. So, my name is Jim Jarzynski. I'm the mayor of the Village of Falconer. If you need an address, I guess 101 West Main Street in Falconer, New York. First of all, thanks for letting me speak today. I know I was not on the agenda, so I didn't know if I'd be allowed to. So I just want to say again, thank you. I'd just like to maybe reiterate more on a personal level of, I appeared last month at the legislature meeting in regards to the situation at a motel here in the Village of Falconer that is currently being used by the Department of Social Services for what I feel to be an overabundance, and why I guess I'm seeking some guidance from the county legislature as some oversight on the social services as to maybe finding another location other than this motel in the Village of Falconer, because it has just gotten outrageous within the last 4 or 5 years, especially this past year, of the homelessness and what the residents in the Village of Falconer have seen and sometimes been a victim of. So in saying that, we as citizens, we all realize the homeless situation in the county of Chautauqua, and be compassionate and for people that are in a situation of needing some help. But why, as I guess I speak for my residents in the village, why is it always seem to be the motel in the Village of Falconer? And I was wondering if I couldn't have some help from the county legislature and some committees as far as looking into, is there another alternative other than the Village of Falconer and the motel? So, you know, the comments that I made last month, I brought a copy of it again just to go over some numbers again. Since January 1st, 146 police calls from the Ellicott to this motel. 146, my God. The Falconer Fire Department has been there 35 times since January 1st. I realize family relocation, and I guess what I'm really concerned about, what I brought up as a safety issue, public safety issue, is, I mean, when families get put in there, I mean, I can sympathize with a family that's been victim of a fire and needs to be placed somewhere for a temporary amount of time. But even when I see a school bus, now we have school going to be starting up here in September, and I know in past years, I've seen school buses from various districts around Falconer, Southwestern, Jamestown, Frewsburg, pulling into that lot, picking up a child and dropping a child off. What is a family doing living in a motel for that amount of time? Is a motel really a place for a family to live? I mean, we all travel. We all go in motels. Is there a proper kitchenette? Is there a proper living? So why are they not being put out into this family finding an alternative apartment somewhere in Chautauqua County? Why is a school bus picking them up? And why,
Crazy.
it just seems great. And like I said, I come here, representing my village, and just want to ask, I'm going to be at the committee meeting after this, Human Services, and speaking to them. But I also just wanted to bring up, public safety and ask for some assistance, maybe your oversight of social services, and see why does it seem to be this motel in Falconer? I'm not saying,
Do you
I'm
think
not,
the owner of this building is soliciting this?
Yeah, if I may add, I did meet with Diane Anderson, and she's
yeah, I'll be on your
certainly,
committee after this.
yeah, and she certainly is willing to sit down with you and have a face-to-face meeting, which I could be into.
Yeah.
But there are other hotels, motels that they use. She said the Clarion Point in Jamestown, the Colony, Budget Inn, and then the Dunkirk Motel is used, but only for singles, because they don't take families, because they only have single beds. So they do use other hotels, and they do use like the UCAN Mission and some other
Yeah.
facilities. And they do place families because they are obligated by the state to place people when those people come and seek assistance, housing, and temporary. So, we do have an obligation.
That's what I meant. That's what I said. I sympathize all day with the family that needs that emergency temporary type of service. But why are they so long that a school bus is picking them up there? Why are we not transitioning after all transitional housing? Why are we not moving them into an apartment? Into
Well,
another
because
housing
there's-
situation? And that's,
Unfortunately, there's really not affordable housing in the county. Their assistance gets, and I probably have these numbers mixed up. I think a family could get $350 to $400. $167 is what she's supposed to be used for rent. You can't find a place for $167.
Not even for 350.
Not even for 350 or 400, which is to be used for, now they have SNAP benefits for food, but for other living expenses. So it's and I was in Olean for work a couple weeks ago, and I came through, got a burger at Burger King, and I sat in the CVS parking lot, and I sat and I saw it, and it's not an attractive situation there. So it's just, but I don't know
you're
who's
talking in the
placed there
village,
by
yeah.
Chautauqua County. Cattaraugus County, any other county can place people in Chautauqua County,
Mhm.
as we have placed people in other counties when we can't find room at our expense. We have to put them on a bus or whatever, pay for the bus ticket and take them to Olean or Cattaraugus. Cattaraugus County does place people here too, which Chautauqua County might not even know about. They're supposed to interact, but I don't think they do, as I understand it.
And that's another situation with, people that are placed there with addictions, whether it be alcohol or drugs or have a mental health problem is, you go to DSS or during the day, you're supposed to go to DSS Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. But off hours, you can just show up at the hotel and have the officer sign the form and they're there for a day or two. But what's the follow-up? If they, like we all know what was in the paper here just a day or two ago with a shop owner, a business owner who is investing in the village and is refurbishing it and just happens to be there at a late hour and has to have this gentleman walking by back and forth, and then he exposes himself. So, but this isn't his first time of doing it.
Chautauqua County.
This is in the village of Faulkner, which just happened 2
I
nights.
know, but was it a Chautauqua County placed client?
Well, I'll look into it, but I'm pretty sure it
It's
was.
bad no matter what.
Well, I'm sure I would err on the side he was, because he's done it so many times before that he's into the system, and he was probably placed there. I'll do 99.9%. I won't do the 100%. I'll do the 99.9. But regardless, as you mentioned, the other hotels that I'm very familiar with, the Quality Inn down there in the town of Ellicott. The Clarion is in the town of Ellicott. The Colony is in the town of Ellicott. But you have those 3 hotels plus the one in the village of Faulkner and the one up in Dunkirk. Come on, where's the city of Jamestown?
Well, they have to have agreements. with
Yeah,
the hotel.
That's what I'm
owner.
saying. That's where I was also going to ask, is there contractual agreements with
I don't think it's a contract. I don't
or
think
it's just a pay-as-you-go type thing?
It's a pay as you go, I believe.
And they're just
And I
willing, and they're
believe
willing to
that-
accept, it.
Right.
Yeah, and
And
they're
the
willing.
owner does sometimes request, we got room. I don't know, but Diane would be best
Okay.
to answer that.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Because I know this is something, it's probably Diane that I talked to on the phone, and she said that because we usually just had the code blue in the winter, and now that's going to be coming up again, and the conversations are going to start up again here, because this is August, we're going in September, October.
Well,
And,
problem
but
grows with
yeah.
food.
But now it seems that this program is a 365 days a year program. And I just found this out by saying, she said that it was in force since 2017, 18, but really not used during the summer months, but has really recently been just this past year used during the summer months. And she was, I would have to, I'm bold enough to say she was kind of shocked when I told her that the town of Ellicott police were, putting out this voucher. And she goes, well, I thought that was only through the sheriff's department. I said, no, I said, the sheriff does not do all of Chautauqua County. There are some municipalities that still have their own police force. I said, the town of Ellicott, is responsible for the village of Faulkner and Celeron. So I told them they just show up there and they sign the same form that the Code Blue is. And they get the night or two there. But again, where's the follow-up for them to get out of the motel into a housing situation and not stay there for a month? I've been told there's people, and there's some things on a village level. I mean, I got code enforcement in that go in and do fire inspections and stuff like that. So I mean, there's a little bit here on the village, but which I have done, and but yeah, I would just like some real serious help here from the county, as it just seems that this motel is just the main one. I appreciate you. Like I said, I was aware of the Clarion and all that, but it just seems, and I'll get some figures. It seems just that this motel in Faulkner is the one that's being overly used.
How many units are in that hotel? Doesn't seem very big to me.
Well, I'll tell you, back in the day, I mean, I've grown up and lived all my life in Faulkner Inn. They used to have a nice little restaurant in it called the Bongo Room, and
Yeah, I remember.
and for us that are old enough for all that.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I don't have the exact numbers of rooms, Tom,
Mhm.
excuse me, legislator Nelson, that are in there right now.
Mhm.
I can certainly get those, but
But I think you're right. There needs to be the next step. And I think,
it's the next
One of-
conversation.
yeah, what is the next step? Because
Yes.
it doesn't sound temporary when,
When people are in there for months.
yeah, months.
I've told there's people in there for
Mhm.
years.
Yeah.
It's not a healthy situation.
There's be some type of a time frame on it where you can stay there for 60, 90 days and then you have to leave and.
Yeah, there's all
Well,
That
there's
comes
all
down
sorts.
from New York State though.
Well, there's all sorts of housing assistance from New York State as far as HUD and all that. Is there not? I mean, you say there's only 300 or something that they're afforded, but isn't there other avenues from New York State that offer assistance for rental?
I don't know that.
Yeah. So, I mean, to get them into an apartment, that's all part of our DSS, is it not? For them to,
Mhm.
transitional housing.
Right. Mhm.
But
So-
we're gonna have a conversation after Human Services about safe housing too, with lead abatement. And
Yeah.
There's, our housing stock, especially in Jamestown,
Oh, yeah.
is not good.
No,
No.
well, it's all, yeah, has lead-based paint in it. They were all built before. Oh, yeah. Mhm.
So,
Well, I know I've gone over 3 minutes and such, so if that was the time limit, so, but again, I just wanted to come up and I'll be here next week.
Mhm.
I'll be here next week again. And, because I just feel that strongly about this situation, and my residents feel, I mean, they're not my residents, but the village residents feel this strongly that we need some help from Chautauqua County on this. And let's try to, if it means getting a cart, people say, well, if it means getting a carts bus, maybe working 3 to 11, like a police shift, 11, I'm not saying 11 to 7, but, to take them to a motel. But then if you take them to a motel in, hypothetically, Silver Creek, I'm not sure that they have a motel in Silver Creek. But then what's the thing? I don't want to put this on. Is there something to pick them up and bring them back to Dunkirk for social services to get the proper thing, to get the proper attention? So it seems they're put there and forgotten, or they're told to, okay, you have to show up at this and this and this, but who makes sure that they do show up for their, if they have an addiction problem to alcohol, drugs, or have a mental health problem?
as I understand it, during Code Blue, they don't even have to do anything. Everything is suspended, so to speak.
Oh,
During Code Blue only.
As I don't know if I said it on my introduction last week, but I spent 25 years at the town of Ellicott Police Department, full time, and I'm still technically occasionally, I guess. But Yeah, I can remember a person getting a code blue every day from December, January, February. He would just leave and he would come back every day and get that code blue every day. Now, why didn't, I don't mean to say that DSS is the bad person here, but why wasn't this person found to be somewhere else? Because when I said, could this person do this? Is this all legal that they could go every day? I think it even got to be a point on nothing against the dispatch, but it got to be the point they would call Ellicott Police and say, so-and-so's back at the motel wanting his code blue. Really? Every day that winter, it was 2 or 3 winters ago. The Ellicott Police got to know him by name. The dispatchers got to know him by name. And when I asked social services if this was all legal, everything, they said, absolutely. You can do it every day. He did it every day that winter. So, yeah, I just, again, wanted to come, more in person and meet with a committee or two and just answer any questions and, just ask the request of the residents of the village of Falconer. So, and I appreciate all your time today. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Does anybody else
Thank
have
you
any
for
questions or
coming in.
anything of me? Hey, Todd. Okay, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, meeting is, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
I met with him for over an hour.